behalf of an importer. The importer will be required to send a letter addressed to the Controller of Customs, granting permission to the person to clear on their behalf, along with a copy of their ID. The person clearing on behalf of the importer will be required to also present a copy of their government-issued ID. Please also be reminded that the name on the import must match the name on the importer's ID. To avoid any delays or inconvenience, all importers are asked to adhere to these requirements. The Customs and Excise Department wishes to remind its importers of the import clearing requirements. Importers are required to present a copy of his or her government-issued ID. Not able to clear your goods? Not a problem. The Customs Department allows persons to clear on behalf of an importer. The importer will be required to send a letter addressed to the Controller of Customs, granting permission to the person to clear on their behalf, along with a copy of their ID. The person clearing on behalf of the importer will be required to also present a copy of their government-issued ID. Please also be reminded that the name on the import must match the name on the importer's ID. To avoid any delays or inconvenience, all importers are asked to adhere to these requirements.
Good morning, radio listeners, and welcome to another edition of Customs Corner. I am your moderator this morning, Kevon Browne, and with me is Kishma Griffin and Tishel McLean from Customs and Excise and from SCASPA. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And good morning to your listening audience.
Yes, and good morning to the listening audience. I hope everyone had a fantastic Christmas weekend. I hope it was very fulfilling.
I think from customs and port side, we crashed.
Literally, I slept the entire weekend.
Wow, well, you got much needed rest, I assume.
Definitely.
Okay, so what's on the chopping block for this morning?
Okay, we're just going to go through the process again as it relates to clearing cargo at the seaport, and to address any concerns that the listening public.
With that, I'll turn it over to T-Shell until we have any calls.
Okay, the authority, being Port Authority, being the custodians of the cargo, we deal with the storage and handling of the cargo when it relates to the releasing of it. What we do when you come from inside the waiting area after you've been processed both by Customs and Port Authority, then we have a cargo ticketing process that the ticket goes behind and we identify your cargo and bring it forward. So a customs officer will call your name and identify that your cargo is ready and waiting for you to receive it, and then you can leave the compound. We have encountered so far a few hiccups here and there. We're asking persons to, one, when they come into the authority, to note the name of their driver and the vehicle number. If you're using a trucker, identify your trucker before you get inside. In addition, in our lines inside, we tried it with 10 persons in each instance. But on different occasions, we've accommodated 15. What we've noticed is that in the lines, persons have a few queries, and that ties up the line somewhat. Customs and both ports have the same issues somewhat. Kishma might speak on the customs aspect of it, but in regards to the port aspect of it, we have had some problems with relations to the amount of cargo an individual is supposed to receive. Now, I can verify that over the last 2 weeks, we've had some short shipment via tropical and King Ocean vessels. So some persons, if you might have asked for 4 pieces, your shipment might have asked for 4 pieces, you might only receive 3 last week and 1 this week.
Okay.
So we're asking persons to understand that when it comes to shipping cargo, specifically out of the U.S., sometimes everything doesn't get on board. And if it's listed as short ship, then we will let you know. But it's a process that we have to go through. I don't know if Kishma wants to touch on the customs aspect of the challenges so far.
Well, to be honest, Tisha, we've been getting a lot of feedback. We've been getting a lot of good feedback because there are people who are coming up and they're saying how quick the process is and how easy it was, and they're just grateful that they were able to get their stuff at home for Christmas.
In a timely manner.
Yes,
Right.
and so we've been getting a lot of claps. However, we've been getting some thumbs down also. Of
Right.
course, people do not like the idea of their stuff being pre-examined with them not being present. But if they would understand the need and the necessity for this initiative, maybe they might appreciate what we are doing. We have to remember that we need to minimize the amount of people in one space, and this is the best way to be able to get it done. From previous years, you would come up to the port during a December season and not even a fly has space to move around because it's so congested and so tight. And that just was not possible this year. So we would hope that they would understand the reason why we had to do it and appreciate it. We are also getting some feedback about missing goods. In terms of that, right now we are doing our investigations and we are looking into the matters, and we are tweaking as we go along to prevent any of this from occurring. Basically, that's it. I mean, if the callers could call in and tell us what their issues are, then we might be able to address and do even more tweaking as we go along.
Okay.
While Kishma is on the claims aspect of it, I would like to say that she is the point person who is identified to date to deal with the claim. She will receive the information, but a thorough investigation will be held. Be mindful, when we came on the air a few weeks back, we noted our listed basically the persons who will be responsible when it comes to examination of cargo, which is a port representative, a customs representative, and also the agent.
Right.
We have cameras in place, so everything will be checked, and we would address everybody's claim as they're received.
Okay. I think that was one of the major issues that has been going around about missing items, and people are very peculiar about that sort of thing. There were yes.
But then you see, that's the thing. So I will get a handful of complaints, but yet I will hear a mouthful on the street.
Right.
But we need to know, because
Yes.
if we don't know, then we can't remedy the situation. So
Correct.
if they would call in and tell us, and then we might be able to even tweak and do even more to ensure that this does not occur.
I think one of the tweaks should actually be for persons who are importing, apart from the agent and customs and port having a checklist, maybe the person should have a checklist of whatever is in the goods. Whatever exists in the some people send pictures and videos and checklists of what they bought, and if those things correlate with whatever documents everybody else has, then maybe it might be easier for people to figure out whether they had missing goods or not.
Well, you see, with that now, how do we verify that information? Because you, Kevon, can take a picture of goods and bring it to me and say, these were in my barrel and they're no longer there. But how does the customs and the Port Authority verify that these stuff were actually in the barrel?
Could it come from the agent?
No, what I've seen, T-Shell, I've seen this from importing myself, where my bill of lading would specify what's all in my shipment.
Correct.
Maybe if we can ask the agents to enforce that going forward, if
That
they're willing
can
to
be
work,
done.
if
That
they're
can be
willing to
done.
work with us. Yeah, because it boils down to verification, because anybody can say, I had this.
Yes.
And then we, being port and customs, cannot verify that you actually had it,
Right.
So there's
Another thing to be mindful of, persons have to understand that when we are examining cargo, the customs aspects of it, that your contents will not be the same. If you have to cut down something in order to ensure that there are no contrabands, etc. inside, it will not go back in the same contents. What we've tried, based on what we've heard from the public, is that sometimes you might live in a big household, and if you have your stuff plastic out individually, we try to ensure that when they're checked, they go back in that same order.
Right.
In regards to other stuff, like maybe contents, maybe macaronis and food stuff, then you know that you have to separate the packet that it actually does come in. So sometimes you might meet one piece on top of another in the middle of the barrel and another to the bottom of the barrel. So we're asking persons to thoroughly go through their stuff and identify what they were supposed to receive and what they're short of, and then they can make a valid claim.
Right. Okay. Well, callers, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please call in. The numbers are 465-0989, 662-0989, and 762-0989. Please utilize the ladies as they are here with us. This wasn't supposed to happen today, actually. The last episode, the last iteration of Customs Corner was supposed to be the last, but there's an extra. So please utilize the time that these ladies have given to us this morning. One question that I did have it was in relation to the expiration date for the concessions. Is there
The
an expiration?
allowance?
Yes, the allowances. And
Yeah, it's the 31st of December.
the 31st of December.
Yes.
Okay. So you still have a few days to ship something.
Probably late.
Actually, no, they don't.
No?
Tropical gets in tomorrow, and before I left, King Ocean vessel was already
And
berthed.
that's it. Oh, you lost your chance. You lost your last chance. So things, as it pertains to fees, go back to normal.
Yes.
All right. What have there been any other apart from missing items or anything? Has there been any other complaints? It might not necessarily be from customers, but internally from staff. Has there been any issues that any of the staff has brought up as it relates to these new procedures?
Not from the customs side. We understand that November, December is our peak, so we are always geared up and ready to meet the challenge. This one might have been a little bit more ticklish in terms of the extended hours that we would have had to work way into the night, early into the mornings. But like I said, we are customs officers and we understand what comes with the job and we understand what the peak season calls for. So we just prepare ourselves mentally. We all know that we get home late on Christmas Eve night and we probably putting up curtains until 4 o'clock in the morning, but
Right.
it's our norm. So we are used to it.
Okay.
I will definitely support Kishma with that.
Oh, we have a caller. Caller, you're live on Customs Corner. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'll turn my radio down. Sorry about that. You see, I have a question in regards to the late shipment because I shipped some stuff and all didn't come in. And I know for sure that it's probably going to come in right after the date. So what happens then when your cutoff is the 31st?
Okay, so I'm figuring that's a customs question. All right. Thank you for your question, caller. So, like I said, the cutoff is the 31st. However, if there was some significant issue that occurred on the shipping side over in Miami, a significant issue, then the management team and the Comptroller of Customs would look into it, take into consideration to see if there's anything that can be done. And that will be communicated. But that's the most I can say for now.
Okay. Thank you, caller, for your question. We welcome any other callers to call in. The numbers are 465-0989, 662-0989, and 762-0989. On the port side,
Yes, go ahead.
what has been the most difficult part of the process on the port side? Apart from the extended hours that you both share. Oh, we have another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning. We okay. Caller, please call back. We just experienced a little bit of a technical difficulty, so please call back. But yeah, so what has been the most difficult part of the procedures, apart from the extended hours, which sounds like a nightmare?
Okay, from the port aspect of it, the most challenging part of it is the cargo handling. The cargo handling in the instance when we're talking about the packaging that the cargo does come in. Now, most persons, for what I realize when they're shipping from out of Miami, use D-pallets. And if you know how a D-pallet is, it's a very big box. But persons sometimes tend to load down the box. So sometimes when we take them out of the container, we do take pictures of them before we start touching anything. So that persons, if a claim should be laid, that they are aware of how their content was received. Now, when you take it out using our forklift, sometimes when you start to pull it out, the whole box falls apart. So we have to re-wrap it, shrink wrap it, and go through the whole 9 yards when it comes to handling that part of it. There are also the handling of cargo in the sense that boxes leave the U.S., come to St. Kitts, have to be handled by our officers here as well. So the handling pad non-stop back and forth makes the box kind of break apart. And as such, there are glitches here and there, and we have to tape it back up or shrink wrap it back up. But persons have to understand and be mindful that when they're shipping, use a proper packaging when it comes to their cargo.
Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. I want to commend the customs and the port for the initiative that they have taken in order to expedite the transfer of goods at the port. It seems as if that is one of the good things of COVID-19.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you.
And I'm hoping that it will be the way forward, even after COVID-19 has passed. The pre-work that is done, I believe, is what helps to reduce the time that it takes for customers to get their goods. Because before time, it was prohibitive to come to the port and get out of there under 2 hours. And so I want to commend them. The thing, though, is I don't know if you're speaking only, in your comments, you speak only of the seaport. But I'm aware that Amerijet has not come as often as it normally comes in the past, and that my understanding is the COVID-19 challenges in Miami has caused Amerijet to come off schedule and sometimes don't come at all for the week. And so that has delayed the transport of packages via air into the Federation. And so I'm sure that has had some impact on persons getting their items that they would have shipped since end of November, early December. And so a number of packages, I'm sure, have not yet arrived in the Federation. I myself made some orders, and they are not yet on the island, and that was done since during the first week of December. And so I think some consideration should be given to extending the time once it is clear that those items were purchased well before the end of December. Thank you. That's my contribution.
Okay, if I may address that caller.
Mhm.
With reference to Amerijet, he is correct that we have some issues in regards to it not being regularly scheduled. Usually it comes on a Tuesday, and then during the month of December, when it's the off-peak period, it comes maybe twice per week. But I can guarantee that yesterday Amerijet did land here with cargo, but there is a backlog both on the sea and the airport aspect side of cargo in Miami.
Okay.
And like I said before, if the agents communicate to the management team that there is actually a significant issue in terms of backlog cargo, then our management team, along with the Comptroller of Customs, can evaluate the situation and seek approval from Ministry of Finance, Prime Minister, if we can extend it. But like I said, they would have to communicate that to us, that there is an actual issue.
Okay. And I have a question from a person that wishes to remain anonymous. They want to know why do they open the barrels without persons present? I'm guessing they missed that part of the explanation, but if you could reiterate so that they can understand clearly.
Okay, so in light of the peak season and COVID-19 and all the protocols, the Port Authority, and in collaboration with the Customs and Excise Department, came together and they tried to implement a plan to minimize the amount of people on the port, the length of time they spend on the port, and the expediting of the packages. As such, it was necessary for the pre-examination of goods, like I said, to prevent the congestion that we have up there normally during our peak season, and to minimize the amount of people that we have on the port and the length of time that they are in one space.
Okay.
But to impress on the point, I would like to make note that an agent representative is there on their behalf before examining any cargo.
Exactly. We do not touch the stuff without the agent being there.
Present.
Yeah.
So without the three
Yes.
prongs, the
Everybody
agent, port,
has to
and
be there.
customs,
So
all
yes.
three have to be there in order for
Right.
the contents to be even opened.
Right.
Correct.
So please bear that in mind, listening audience. We are almost out of time, but we have enough time to entertain one more caller in case anyone had any pressing issues that they wanted to discuss. But going back to the problems with the cargo, I think you were on the verge of making a recommendation as to what they should ship their stuff in, considering the boxes tend to be a bit weak.
Yes, be mindful of the
Yes.
weight of their contents when it comes to using the D containers. When it comes to transferring or using a shipper for windscreen, we're recommending that you use crates because it's safer that way. And I've observed a few situations where we had televisions actually inside a barrel and just wrapped up with a towel.
What?
Yes, so we do encounter these situations. Yes, I'm very, very
You'll be
serious.
surprised to see
How
What?
persons pack stuff.
Why in a barrel though?
Yes, in an actual barrel.
So
and
they
just wrapped up with the two pieces
I'm
of
guessing
towel.
it's an effort to not have to ship it on its own, but that runs the risk of you destroying the
trying to
TV.
utilize space.
I guess, but you run the risk of destroying the TV completely if something shakes
You can
Yes.
imagine
a
you have
little too
a
much.
television in there with some cans of sardines
Right.
and tin beef and stuff. Yeah.
Yes. But what we do practice though is that before persons leave the compound, we ask them to check their televisions, plug them up, and ensure that it comes on and that the screen is not cracked. In addition to appliances, we're asking persons to take off the packaging just to ensure that it has not been dented or any kind of marks on it.
Okay. Thank you very much, ladies, for joining me. I hope we did get some engagement this morning, and we appreciate the engagement from the listening audience. And if you have any further questions, the hotline is available
Yes.
in that regard, and it's 550, if I remember correctly. And you can also check the website.
Yes, it's Casper's website.
www.scasper.com/cargo.
Right, for any information you need concerning the new procedures.
And the availability of your cargo.
Yes, and the availability of the cargo. And any changes to the procedures will be made available on the website as well. As they said, they're going to be tweaking to make the new procedures as efficient and as hassle-free and user-friendly as possible. But ladies, thank you so much for joining me this morning and further clarifying some things concerning the new procedures.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you, Kevon, for having us.
You're welcome.
The Customs and Excise Department wishes to remind its importers of the import clearing requirements. Importers are required to present a copy of his or her government-issued ID. Not able to clear your goods? Not a problem. The Customs Department allows persons to clear on behalf of an importer. The importer will be required to send a letter addressed to the Controller of Customs, granting permission to the person to clear on their behalf, along with a copy of their ID. The person clearing on behalf of the importer will be required to also present a copy of their government-issued ID. Please also be reminded that the name on the import must match the name on the importer's ID. To avoid any delays or inconvenience, all importers are asked to adhere to these requirements.